Hi everyone, I'm Holly Holland and I'm here to show you a very active gluteal sequence that is great for posture, relieving stress and injuries, and also really building your bone and your posture. So these are 10 exercises with some variations and progressions. They're meant to be fairly active, so you can always build up to these. Do as many as you can. I love to get you up to 8 to 15 at a time, but I know you're more likely to do exercises when you can fit it in a small amount of time. So today, for the purposes of this, we'll probably do about 8 repetitions. I've got a chair here for some of the exercises that I'm going to be using. I've got some 2 5-pound weights that I'm going to be using. You could absolutely use no weights at all, or you could add lighter weights or heavier weights depending on your strength. I've also got a Pilates box over here that I'm going to use for a few exercises. So let's start with one of the best exercises that you can do for your glutes. Your glute maximus, which is here, your glute medius and minimus here, and even that helper glute, your tensor fascia lata. We're going to be working a lot of those too. So a squat, how do you do a good squat? Well, particularly if you're somebody like me who tends to use her pelvis all the time, you've got to really make sure you do these 3 steps, okay? You want to have a small bend of the knee, draw your abs up and in, and then hinge back. So you're trying to make this basically a V-shaped angle here with a nice neutral spine, and your knees not going too far over your ankles. So you can do this, first of all, just kind of getting into a position where you're pressing down, you're feeling your big toe, little toe, and that kind of middle arch as you draw in, and then press up. So again, give yourself that idea of how do I get that each time into a lot of precision, small bend of the knee, abs in, and press back. So I'm going to do about 5 more of these, drawing my abs in, trying to really build that good right angle with my body, and trying to get a little bit of intensity into this as you're feeling your feet on the ground, and maybe the arms in front. Okay, so you can always progress these. So how can we do a squat? I'm going to hinge forward, grab a 1-pound weight. Now I'm going to be facing forward so you can see this. And I'm just holding that weight between my 2 hands, small bend of the knee, abs in, and I'm going to pull up and back with the weight. So just giving myself a little bit more resistance as I do this work. That's how you can keep progressing. So if you're trying to build greater bone health, you want to be able to do this with more weight resistance over time. All right, you could also do that version here with a single leg, much more challenging. I'll put the weight down for this one. And you would sit in a chair and basically come up, or take that right leg forward. Ooh, definitely challenging for me. And then, ooh, come back up. So I think I'm gonna have to do it from the up position and balance and come back. So something to work toward, not exactly my cup of tea today. All right, how about a side squat? Lots of variations we can do for side squats. The basic parameters are the same. You wanna step out with a wider position. You're gonna start with a small bend of the knee, abs draw up, hips go back. Don't continue to feel like you gotta get your knees super wide or super down. You're just aiming for a nice position here when you're gonna step in and out. So let's stay with one side for a few. Abs up and in. Try not to drop your chest or round it here, and really push off and feel the security of your foot as you go forward and back. So let's go to the other side. Press off, draw back in. I'm conscious of those components of knee bend, abs in, draw your abs up, and you'll see right away, you start to build a little cardio influence with that. Okay, you could add that a curtsy squat. So for a curtsy squat, you're gonna step back. You might even hold on to a chair for a little stability. Drop back. These are also called curtsy lunges. Notice that my knee is tracking with my big toe. I'm trying to not have the knee splay out like this or pronate in. Stepping back. Find your balance, come forward and back. You know, I really should have that chair more secure on the mat so it doesn't slide, so I'm going to use it this way. All right, what that would look like without the chair, you could do it like this. You could add a weight. could add 2 weights. I'm going to hinge forward and pick them both up. So do it as a position where you're stepping back with one and then bringing the weight up on the same side leg as you're lunging, and change, switch. So it looks like you're doing a little bit of a boxing move at the same time, but don't go for speed here until you really gain that precision. Rather you do a few slow and well as you're building your strength and stamina than to do some slow and sloppy. Okay, another seriously great glute exercise is lunge. And a lot of options for us here. When you're making a lunge, think about the principles here of alignment. If I step forward, I again want to get that knee to track with my second toe likely, but look for your big toe and you'll be ready. And I want to make pretty much a 90-90 angle. So as I'm going down, I want to think about a vertical drop rather than tilting super far forward here with my pelvis, which is going to stress my knee more than activate my glutes. Coming down and up. I like to take my hands to the hips right here. My thumbs are right on the glute minimus in the back. My other hands are right on the glute medius along the side. It's just powerful work. You feel all along the side glutes and into the glute maximus. You could even do a little pulsing here, up and down. Fabulous work, okay? Stepping back, you could also hold on to a wall or a chair if you need to. Look for that 90-90 angle, going down and up. Now what if you do if you've got knee pain? Many of us do. Don't make it a huge movement. Go slowly. Again, good form is what we're after throughout this. Try to get as many as you can safely and then build for another day. All right? So I could definitely do that with weights. Going to hinge forward, take one weight, and I can just basically take it down with the down arm. Okay, so that's just adding a little extra resistance to my movement. I could do it as I'm bringing weights up. Press up here and stress that leg. I could progress, I'll put this weight down, progress to a walking lunge. So I could step forward, try one lunge, come up, try the other, and turn around. Walking lunge, down, reset, come forwards, a lot more balance component. You could also work into a reverse lunge and then that sequence. So let's try a reverse lunge. We're going back, so we really can't think about as much in terms of where we are in space. That's a really helpful thing to do as you're learning to improve your balance. So how about combining those? Okay, so you could go with a reverse lunge and step up to a forward lunge and back to that reverse lunge. Take your time, forward and back, look for your alignment, and let's change sides. So I'm going to take the left leg forward, left leg back until I run out of room back here. Make sure you got lots of space. Okay, so lots of good work for the lunges. Again, add your repetitions as you get stronger and more stable. Knee lifts. Love this as an exercise. Again, standing against a wall, you could use a chair for balance. Bring one leg up at a time. Draw your abs up and in. Feel the lift. Right? If you don't need that chair for balance, then you can take it off to the side. Great job of moving through all of the glutes here. Now make it more of a balance challenge. Take your hands behind your head. Feel yourself lifting up through the core. Make sure that foot gets placed down. So basically when you're on that side leg here, you can feel a lot of work of the glute medius trying to hold you upright. How about rotation? Yeah, we don't do a lot of rotation, especially with osteoporosis, but we sometimes can do that if we're moving into a thoracic rotation, bringing it up, doing just a little bit of extra work to increase your balance. Okay, how about some side leg lifts? We'll see this when we get into some of the work on your side, but this is called a fire hydrant, right? So I can be here, and I'm gonna lift that leg to the side, drawing my abs up and in, working strongly through the glute medius, up and down. Love this one, actually. I could even take it into a reverse position here and out to the side, which I call kind of a donkey kick. Holding on to my core muscles, using the chair, nice stability, feels really good, and it's active glute work. Let's try that on the other side. So first I'll just stand here, bring it out to the side, bent leg pat, like that, and can turn into this direction. Make it a little bit more like a donkey kicking a barn door. Feels awesome. Abs up and in. So you can always pause this video at any point if you want to refine a particular movement, or if you just want to add a few more before we move on to the next series. Okay, Warrior 1 and 2 from yoga. Fantastic poses for the glutes, all over hip strength. Great for our bones. I use it in my Yoga for Osteoporosis classes every week. So for Warrior 1, I'm going to step forward with my right leg now. Left leg is back into a natural stride. The two pelvic bones are facing forward. I don't want to be cockeyed here. I'm fairly straight. I'm really thinking about engaging through the back leg. Turn on those glutes as stabilizers. Draw the abs up here. Now, many people think that you've got to get a seriously big knee bend here. You don't. I'm working to get my hips to open, not my knee to press down. Now, Warrior 1, you can do so many different variations here. You could bring your hands into prayer position. You could bring your hands out into a cactus shape. Well, a whole manner of things here as you stretch. Ideally, though, it is really a back bend, and that's a really nice thing here as you're trying to stabilize and work just through your upper thoracic spine. All right, and then we'll step forward, change sides. So back with the right leg, left leg square. Hold that position. Yeah, I think I might even take my arms out this time. Feels kind of great. Can bring my arms up, do kind of like a little bit of a sun salutation. The important thing here is that I'm building a lot of stamina with the leg. The longer I hold this pose, the happier my hips are going to be, and also the more weight bearing that I'm giving for the bones, working through the posture. Okay, so that's Warrior 1. Warrior 2 is a side position. What I want to do here, my pelvis will not be square. I'm going to open my right leg to the side. My left leg is going to internally rotate. So the pelvis follows the lead of the hips, and so it's going to be at about a 3/4 degree angle. And you can see here the position of the back leg really strong and internally rotated is going to challenge the glute medius over here, where you're going to get a lot of glute medius on this side in external rotation. And the glute maximus, of course, is working with that channel. Same thing, not interested in that knee getting super far. I'm wanting my hips to be open. You can see that my spine is right on top of the pelvis. Stretch the arms out. I like my palms up because my shoulders tend to be really tight. And I'm just looking forward to see that I can see the big toe of my right foot. That helps me know that I'm not pronating the knee, which is often something that happens when your hips are tight over here, your glute medius and your tensor fascia lata. They can be so tight that they cause that knee to pronate. Love this pose, such a nice one, just for holding that alignment, drawing the abs in, and trying to square my shoulders. To come to the other side, just pivot, turn your feet. If you feel like you need a shorter stance, that's perfectly fine. But again, getting that nice heel alignment as if you're down a straight line on your mat. Get a nice secure position with your feet. Maybe your palms are down this time, it's really fine. You stretch out, you think about what this means in Sanskrit, which is, let's see See, Virabhadrasana 2, it means courageous, nice person. I really like that idea of a warrior. Beautiful work. I'm in for about 8 to 10 seconds with each of the poses, just to give my glutes a chance to open and my bones a lot more stamina. And then finally there's Warrior 3. Well, this is really a good balance pose. Fantastic though for the Glute Maximus. I'm going to use a chair to start with here. I find that this is accessible to most people. You take your hands on the side chair here. Now you're thinking about that front leg. It's preparing to hold most of your body weight. You want to feel what I call your tripod foot. Big toe, little toe, and right down the center there for that stable arch in the base of your foot. Now you're going to start to shift the weight into that leg, and right away you can feel the glute medius here as a stabilizer, and the glute maximus is turning on crazily good. Now the right leg, I'm just going to bring up. I'm not interested in a big high load here. There's so many things happening here. The stabilization, the hinge, and I'm flexing this foot because when you flex, you're going to give yourself into that dorsiflex position. That turns on those posterior hip muscles. Fantastic work there. So strong. Love this. Right? You could take your opposite hand off, make a little bit of a balance challenge there. Not at all necessary, but kind of fun. And then I'll take that down. Let's try on the other side. Same thing here. I'm preparing this front leg for load. Press into the foot, lift that up. Think of that hinge. So I'm trying to keep that nice flat back position. I like to imagine that I have to balance a tray of drinks on the back side here. And I really want to keep that alignment, abs drawing up and in, opposite arm going forward, and that maximum resistance here into pressing through that back heel and getting just that little lift right at that underwear line. And then I know that I've really turned on the glute maximus. I can feel it for sure. And then release. How would you progress that? Well, you could take it into what's called a deadlift position. I'm definitely going to use the chair here for a little stability. I think I'll come this way just to show you. So you'd want to be here, and you're just going to take the weight forward. You'll tip the leg up a little bit and stretch. Still aiming for that right angle. You're not trying to round it anywhere, but you're just giving a little bit more load to both sides. I'll show you what that looks like on the other side. And take hold of this for my stability. And I'm just going to bring that weight down this time as I take the leg a little higher. And the reason that's okay to do is it's sort of like a pendulum effect. And I don't want so you can see here, if my arms are here, I'm going to want my leg in that same level. Well, if the weight is pulling me down, then my leg could go up proportionately. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we're coming towards the end, but let's see where we could go with this. Okay, step-ups are great. Now, I don't have, this is a little padded box. You might have a step stool or something. This is not ideal because it's a little cushy. I'd rather it be a little bit firmer, but you'll get the point. And you could hold on to a wall too if you needed stability. So I'm going to step up with one foot, try to stabilize that, bring the other leg up, and then step that back. I'll change legs. Bring the foot up, stabilize, lift the leg, and step it back. So these are working all of the gluteals. Lots of balance here. You can feel how much that you have to do every time to think about abdominals and your balance. And even that weight transfer is a very important part of gaining good posture and gluteal support. Let's just do one more set of these. I'd probably do more, except that this box is not ideal. Wish I had one from the Pilates studio. It's not quite as unstable on the top. Okay, and then finally, we're going to do another yoga pose called tree. Tree has so many variations that you can do. In my Yoga for Osteoporosis class, we tend to use a chair. So I think this is fabulous. You bring one foot up on the chair, one foot in your standing leg. You get this nice dual opposition. You press your hands here, or the arms could be out like so. You're working the glutes magically here, pressing down, lifting up. And then you can even progress to rising up onto the ball of that standing leg foot. Taking your gaze to your fingertips, so you're challenging your balance that way. And changing size just to show you what that would look like. Just really like the way you can emphasize both legs here. I'll try my arms out here, even in a cactus shape. And I'm really focusing on pressing down into my feet, energizing the leg bones. Okay, now if you were just practicing a tree freestanding, you could start with just your one leg coming into the side. And one of the reasons I love this for a glute practice is because the glute medius over here is getting so much work in stabilization. The glute maximus is getting a lot of load here because it's an external rotation. And the two have to form together to give you a nice bit of stabilization of your pelvis right in the middle. Now, I've certainly done this exercise where you bring the foot up to the inner thigh. If that's something you can do, great, but you don't have to. You can stay right in this small shape. You can put your foot anywhere up along the leg as long as it's not on your knee. Okay, what would that look like on the other side? Bring it here. I'm gonna make sure that I'm hugging into the midline, we call it. So really forming a good foundation of support. Many kind of options you can do here. A good pair of stable shoes is excellent here. You could do this with bare feet, but I definitely wouldn't do it with socks. Find some kind of stable surface, not a slippery floor or carpet. And then bring that back. Okay, that's kind of 10 for 10. Hope that took about 10 minutes. Might have been a little bit longer with all the explanations. But it's a doable series, right? So aim for 5 to 8, build towards 10 to 15 as you can, but come back to this. Do this frequently along with the next videos that I'll be showing you about some of our floor work targeting both the glute maximus and the glute medius and minimus, and then also that tensor fascia latae. See you next time.